Okay, I decided two things this morning. One, you are my new book best friend. Congratulations. You owe me a Christmas gift, by the way. Two, that every Sunday I'm going to record a weekly recap on what I'm reading. So, yes, let's get started. Right after Christmas, I finished Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. It's about a girl named Sayona who has dedicated her whole life to studying magic and becomes the first female high mage at the high magistry. She gets together with a guy named Tomo who ends up being her janitor slash maybe potential boo slash ex-hunter with a deep family history. And together they unlock these dark secrets. And it's just a beautiful story about doing the right thing. It's about humanity and family and also legacy when you think about it. But it's also about the abuse of power. And this book, if anything, it just teaches us that Spider-Man was right. With great power comes great responsibility. And I love the supporting cast. I love the magic system, which I talked about in my last video. And I mentioned that it reminded me of programming. So I think M.L. Wang did a fantastic job with the magic system itself. And I didn't want to say this, but I guess I will. But this book kind of reminds me of Babel a little bit. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but there are elements that reminded me so much of Babel, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I actually reread it last year and I still loved it. Probably loved it even more. By the way, this friendship is going to be a two-way street, as most relationships should be, in my opinion. But I also want to know, what's the last thing that you read? Because like, if I'm going to make these videos, then I better get something out of it as well. So you better tell me, what was the last book that you read? And only if it's good. If you didn't like it, also let me know, because then I'll skip it. Okay, so after I finished Blood Over Brighthaven, I actually took a break. I wanted to enjoy the holidays a little bit more, catch up on some films, eat some cookies, all that good stuff. But now I'm back to reading, and I'm reading two books, Jane Eyre and The Wedding People. Jane Eyre is about an orphan girl who grows up with a tough childhood. We then follow her life as she grows to become the governess and falls in love with Mr. Rochester, I believe it is. And she starts to uncover secrets of Mr. Rochester, and the book just kind of goes from there. I really wanted to read another classic, and after watching Nosferatu, I really wanted another kind of gothic story. So Jane Eyre is perfect for that. But this book is also special because it's a part of my reading goal. One of my reading goals this year is to do an IRL buddy read. And so this book, my buddy and I, my lovely buddy and I, are going to read this month. So I need to slow down with the book. So because I need to slow down with Jane Eyre, I decided to pick up The Wedding People, which is about a girl named Phoebe who is in a bad place in her life, and she decides to book a stay at a hotel called the Cornwall, which she planned to stay with her husband, but he's no longer in the picture. And after she goes to the hotel, she finds out that the hotel is fully booked for a wedding. She eventually meets the bride and they form a bond, and the story kind of goes from there. I'm only on chapter 5, but I haven't stopped laughing since I read this book. It's dark humor, don't get me wrong, but I like dark humor and it's so funny. And most of the writing, all the dialogue and all the jokes are pretty much stuff that I'm saying in my head, but not out loud. So I don't know, it's great. The writing is simple, it's straight to the point, and I think it's very easy for anyone to pick up, to enjoy, and maybe even relate. But I do want to say one thing. Make sure to check the trigger warnings, please, because there are some dark topics in this book that might trigger something. So please be careful and make sure you look into that before you explore this book. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was StoryGraph. Now, I've never been a Goodreads person. I've never been the type of person to track my books on any other app besides an app called Notion, which is pretty much just for myself. That's where I do all my book notes and all my book tracking. And maybe one day I will show you, because when I show people my book notes, it's pretty wild. I get a reaction. So maybe I will do that. But I did decide to download StoryGraph, and I'm loving the stats and the data feature in StoryGraph right now. I love how it breaks down the categories and all the data sets that are related to the books. And I'm currently only using it for books that I want to read. I don't think I'll use it for anything else besides that, but I love the way that all the genres are broken down, the number of pages, all that stuff. So it's really, really cool. If you're not on StoryGraph, I highly recommend it. I don't think I'm going to use it for anything else but the to be read stuff with the stats. Maybe I'll use it for what I finished reading because it might be kind of cool. Oh my God, I did it again. The last time that I recorded my video, I didn't introduce myself. I am so sorry. I apologize. It's not very gentlemanlike of me, But hi, my name is Dennis. I like books. Like and subscribe. Okay, I also went to the library during the holidays and I got 3 books. And the reason I did this was because I am a mood reader. So instead of buying new books or downloading new books, I was like, yo, I should just go to the library, get a little bit of everything. And if I have these weird kind of mood reading moments, I can just pick something from the library pile. So let me show you what I got. I got East of Eden by John Steinbeck, which was inspired by Dylan. I'll put his handle in the description somewhere, but Dylan's awesome. He shares a lot of great books. And I saw him read it and I was like, I want to read it too, because it's a classic that's always been on my mind. I started the book and I thought it was going to be the buddy read, but it's not. So I have to put it down. The other book that I got is The Cemetery of Untold Stories by Julia Alvarez. And I got this because it's historical fiction. It has some creepiness, some creepy vibes going on. So just in case I wanted some more historical fiction, I got that. You know, I love historical fiction. And I also picked up something by Stephen King. It's Billy Summers. Now, I want to read more Stephen King this year after I read Misery last year. But if I'm being honest, this isn't the book that I want to read. I want to read the JFK book. So, but I did get it because this was available. And again, I'm a mood reader. So if my moods were kind of swinging one way or another, I wanted to make sure I have something. So that's my library pickup. Okay, we talked about Blood Over Brighthaven. We talked about Jane Eyre. We talked about The Wedding People. We talked about The Cemetery of Untold Stories. We talked about East of Eden. And we also talked about Billy Summers. And that's all that I have. I have nothing else to say. And it's time for an awkward goodbye because I never know how to close these things. So I need to go hunt down a croissant and some coffee. And I need to go listen to the new Bad Bunny album. So I want to wish you a lovely day. And in case you're wondering, what were the best books that I read in 2024? Check out this video right here. Okay. Love you.